set to be interviewed next Tuesday. We'll be going to the board Wednesday night for a special board meeting. Excuse me, Wednesday morning. Yeah, we switched that. Everything changes, doesn't it? So we're going. Yeah, go ahead.
What time? I thought it was at 5 Wednesday.
No, we had when everybody left last night. We had to reshuffle schedules with board members, and so we are 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, and then that will be for the review of the recommendations from the interview team, the CMGC interview team, so the board can make the selection.
And they'll select at that meeting?
Yes, unless we have any conflicts in the interview that we feel we need to delay or take more time on a review. And so from that selection with the CMGC, the following week we're looking at another open house. It would be Wednesday the 9th, and the purpose of that open house would be to introduce the CMGC team member and to talk about their bid process, pre-qualification, and who to get in touch with in order to take this local participation to the next step. So that's the slideshow. Now we wanted to open it up for questions and make sure we got everything answered for you that we can.
How's it going getting some local contractors? Are you able to tell yet if there's any individuals qualified, or can you group them together like you were discussing at the last?
We've gotten over 24 responses to the local open house in response. We've gotten some very good feedback. Since the time of the open house, our architectural firm has even found a civil engineer here locally to team with and brought the civil on board. That's Crabtree. And so not just in the contracting side, but also in the design professionals, we've been able to engage some local. The big news on the local is that we've gone through the CMGC pre-qualification process to identify a short list. And of the respondents, 3 firms really, 3 teams really stood out. And what happened is we had teaming between a large front range general contractor and a local general contractor with good reputation and good experience on all 3. Specifically, Hazelden Construction has teamed with Dieselin Structures. G.E. Johnson has teamed with Maltz Construction. And Adolphson and Peterson has teamed with L.M. Kirsting out of Buena Vista. And so even in our CMGC selection, we will have some local experience or local participation that bodes well, and it seems that folks have paid attention. As far as the subcontractors, we really have to wait for that next step to get the CMGC on board.
You're on a fast track still, as you discussed.
We're on a fast track, but it's not too fast of a track. As we've kind of presented in some of the slides, we're looking at a 12-month construction schedule for 90,000 square feet, basically May to May, from May of 11 to May of 12. Those project schedules are not unreasonable. It's a quick schedule, but I wouldn't call that fast track. We're getting a little more flow. And in that, we've also created additional flow that we're holding as the owner. Specifically, we've had 2.5 months from June to mid-August where we'll be using that to occupy and test the systems that we have as flow in our schedule. So it's not just 12 months to the critical path when doors open. It's 14.5.
I see. What do you mean as the owner?
As the owner, as the school district. In any construction or any business venture, you always identify where you align the risk and what you hold for yourself as a contingency. We certainly don't want to pay any more for general conditions and management on the construction project and that risk than reasonable. And if we can reserve more time for the school district, the owner, to make the startup and the occupancy and the use of the building easier, then we're going to preserve that. If it comes down to it and there's a reasonable issue that pushes the general construction back. This gives us that flexibility to allow that to happen without impacting our start date.
Do you have some slides of this, for example, that would give most people a view at what is being considered at this point?
For the schedule or for the construction?
For the construction, just a view of the layout, the possibility.
Nothing beyond what you see here. So this was kind of the slide in terms of the overall footprint and then the design of blocking. And so the first meeting that happened was to actually take each of these different colored spaces and say in the master plan it was programmed that this classroom would be 750 square feet, the gym would accommodate this many people. The first meeting tested that.
Even something like this, though, would be giving people an idea of, okay, this is what we're thinking of now.
Absolutely.
And if we could have something like that available, we'd like to have it for the paper.
We can certainly send that over. We've got this slide in a PDF, or we've got this table in a PDF. We have those 4 in a PDF.
I think something like this would be most useful right now.
As long as a big caveat that you put it's going to change. What we always run a risk of when we put something out there is everybody says, well, geez, I don't like that. That's crazy. Why don't they do this? Well, we're working through that now.
Right.
But certainly we want to show the progression of the work. We'll email this over. Give me an email and we can send it right out.
You mentioned that that there might be some demolition work done on the Andreas Field House. What's that about?
Right now, you can barely see kind of the outline of the field house right here. Because this building shape or the location is going to change, we're not sure if grading will allow us to get the footing and the foundation and build some of these walls without having to demolish a portion or all of the Andreas Fieldhouse. Eventually the fieldhouse goes away. It does not fit from a programming standpoint to get a competition ball field and the connection through. And so we've tested that and tried to find any of the options we could. But eventually it goes away. It's just a question of can we save it for one more year for use, or do we have to take a portion of it down this summer? Right now I can't answer that until we get a little further on the design and get the CMGC on board.
See you guys later. Thanks, Jeff. See you guys.
Until we get some of the constructability review and some of their safety fencing, they have to have a zone to be able to bring the equipment around and work in those areas. We don't know whether Andreas is going to go away this summer or not.
When will you know that?
I would anticipate mid-February at the SD.
So it would happen for the 2011-12 school year then?
If some portion of it had to come down.
Right.
Yes.
It would happen.
That's why I said that, we've got to keep a school operational, so all of those entities, all of those things have to be worked through with the school administration and the school board, whatever their decision is about portions of building and stuff. But at the same time, we need in the fall of 2012, we need to be able to move into this building. And so all of that construction has to happen sometime between now and then.
And some of the things to point out, as you think of how we've structured this, in the design advisory group, Jim Coscarella, the AD, is part of that design advisory group as we talk about the needs and the schedule. We also have a user group that is athletics facilities, and so one of the special use groups is athletics. And so on the design side we have representation, on the small committee group we have representation. We're trying to get all of those to blend together and make sure that everybody sees what's going on and can make the schedule changes that we need to.
That's why all of these different options happened early on, was just for everybody to get out of the box and try anything that anyone could imagine, because we want to come up with the best solution for the long term of Salida High School. We don't want to let something that's existing or something that you've had to live with just because it's the way it is